Lagos Fashion Week just wrapped up, and rather than talk about the outfit trends, I wanted to share 5 things I noticed, a bit of what stood out to me from the runways, the presentations, and the overall direction of African fashion. The first thing I noticed is that there was more cohesion across collections. This season felt a bit more cohesive. Last year, you could find pieces in some collections that made you wonder, why is this here? But this time, most designers presented stories that flowed. You could feel the intention behind the sequencing, the styling, and the direction. And that's speaking of up to 80% of the collections I saw. The second thing I noticed was stronger design identities. I noticed how certain brands have really matured in their own design languages. Labels and brands that are even less than 5 years now have like an aesthetic that you can immediately recognize. And that's quite impressive. That kind of consistency shows growth, and I believe it would help to shape what we can eventually call the African contemporary look. The third thing I noticed was broad voices. As much as I saw cohesion and stronger brand identities, a few collections this year had pieces that echoed the design language of others. And I'll say a little too closely, not necessarily copying, but there were moments where you could sense overlapping influences within the same space. And I don't think that's a good thing. We shouldn't see a brand's look and associate it with another brand. The fourth thing is the trend. A few trends definitely stood out this season, from tailoring to sustainable material use to prints and even the better dyeing techniques that I saw, to embroidery and beading. But what really caught my eye was how some designers leaned into minimalism, but it was translated in a way that still felt African, still felt intentional. I appreciate the balance between restraint and expression, because that made a lot of collections shine, in my opinion. And finally, I would say that at the end of the day, I think the real winner is the fashion consumer. Lagos Fashion Week at this point will almost always show how variety and depth exist in African design. If you want glam, there are designers who do that effortlessly. If you appreciate artistry, beadwork, handcrafts, or even couture techniques, there are brands like that for you. If you prefer minimalism or everyday wear with strong design language, there are options for you as well. I appreciate how legacy brands, those with 10 years or more, now have very recognized aesthetics, and how younger designers, those showing for less than 5 years, are also carving clear identities for themselves. And that makes the ecosystem more diverse and more exciting. So in the bigger picture, the customer now gets choice, perspective, and personality. And that's a healthy sign. I would say African fashion is growing and organizing itself around value and individuality.